You're muted, John.
Great start. Great start to the show. Welcome to a 90 Minutes podcast. Uh, I'm John. I'm joined today with David, special guest Luke. Med will be joining us in a little bit. He had a scheduling conflict, and Miss Ayel, I believe, is feeling under the weather. So we will, had a slower week with the senior team and the B team. Pride had two matches last week, including their introduction to the CONCACAF Women's Cup or Women's CONCACAF, whatever they call it, Champions Cup. I always struggle because I want to say Champions League because that's what everybody's used to. So yeah, kicking it off right off the bat, real quickly. First, how are you guys doing? Slow down a little bit.
Doing great. Thank you, Luke, for joining us. Because as you guys know, it's that now this is a little bit difficult for me to be coherent for a long time. This past weekend, guys, no football, man. No EFL, no nothing, and no MLS, no USL. So it sucked. I guess this is how the rest of the world lives. I don't want to live in that world. So other than that, ready for Orlando City to return to the hostilities.
Definitely. And a little background on Luke, real quick, and then I'll let him talk. Somebody I respect greatly with their knowledge of the game. Played growing up. I believe you still play, even though you're in school, right? You joined a team.
Yeah.
Coached youth. Has his U.S. Soccer Federation C license, and then the FA grassroots. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So, he also follows a team in England. And I'll let you two argue off after we get done. But they're in the League One, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, we took this year, but still second game at Stevenage.
Long season
I
ahead.
know. Look, I know. It's that's how football is, my friend.
Yeah.
So go ahead. Tell us a little more about yourself, Luke, and then we'll move on to Pride.
Yeah. So just a quick, short summary about me. I'm now 21, and oh god, and I've supported Orlando since I was 10 years old. So now it's going on 10 years. I was in the Citrus Bowl in their first season, so it's been that long. So there's been a lot of stuff that's gone on, a lot of transition, a lot of pain, but a very small triumph. But what a triumph it was back when we won the US Open Cup, even though it was now almost nearly 3 years ago today.
And we'll go through that. Our experiences during that here in a little bit. But yeah, on to the Pride. They did win their introductory match in the Champions Cup, 3-0 over Alajuelense. It was a rotated squad. Obviously, Pride was much more skilled top to bottom. Pretty easy match for them. It was nice to see them put up 3 goals in a match because they've really struggled to score this season. And so and then they played on Sunday against Chicago. It was a rough match. I watched some of it, and they really need something. They really need some inspiration. As much as our show loves Seb Hines, and as good of a job as he did last year, he's got to be. It's that his seat's got to be getting kind of warm right now with the struggles they've been having because they just look clueless on the attack. Don't have any creativity. And yes, Banda's out, but even when Barbara Banda was in there, they just looked absolutely clueless. And so we just they need something. They need a spark somewhere. And then their next match coming up is I can't remember now. And the graphics taking its time loading too, of course. Bear with me 1 second. You gotta love a live program. But Ahmed's with us now. Ahmed made it.
Hello, gentlemen.
Ahmed,
What's
Happy
happening?
Monday. Happy Monday. How's everybody doing?
good. So yes, the Pride's next match is this Saturday at 5 p.m. against Bay FC. It is a home match. So go out and watch the ladies, give them their support if you can make it. They need to start winning. And that match is actually at 5 p.m. I don't know why my computer messes up sometimes and puts it on 4 hours ahead of or behind us. OCB didn't play this past weekend. Their next match is also this Saturday. It is a home match. They play Miami. I believe it's an away match because it's against Miami. I don't know why my graphics are. There we go.
Yeah.
Sunday. They play Sunday in Miami, 7 p.m. kickoff. Won the first leg. Let's hope they can continue their winning ways. They've won the last 2 matches in a row. It's not a streak until you win 3. So let's hope they can improve their winning ways, climb up into the standings a little more, get more into a better playoff position. Currently, they sit 8th, 3 points behind Toronto FC2, and 5 points behind Chattanooga. Or I'm sorry, 8 points behind Chattanooga in 6th place. So they need to make up some ground coming up here. And very quickly, the season's winding down.
And John, important game because Inter Miami too it's in turmoil. There's a lot going on with the academy there and their B team because people are starting to realize that there's no future, there's no possibility of making it to the first team. So it's an important match for both clubs. And I think, in my opinion, an opportunity for OCB guys to impress and for Inter Miami to let people know, hey, I'm available, I'm good to go. I already been told that in the off season for MLS Next Pro, we are going to see a lot of turnaround, especially in Orlando. So just be on the lookout for that.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I've said it in the last couple shows. Before the MLS Next season began, it just began, I believe, this past week. Several players from the Miami Academy left and joined our academy. I think it was 4 or 5 of them. So for that to happen, something has to be going on. And we talk all the time about how Miami's decimated their academy and their reserve team for the sake of one man and his buddies. And, it's going to take them a very long time to recuperate that. And with that being said, we will, unfortunately continue on the topic of Miami just with some news around the league. Basically, they, everybody knows what happened a couple weeks ago with them and the fight with Seattle in the Leagues Cup final. Terrible sight. You never want to see that happen. Everybody knew, Miami was going to get slapped on the wrist with a wet noodle as punishment. So their suspensions are as follows for the Leagues Cup competition. Suarez got 6 games. Busquets got 2 games. Thomas Aviles got 3 games. And then Sounders coach Steven Linhart got 5 games. As far as the league goes, it's laughable what they got. Suarez just got 3 games. And Steven Linhart his credentials are revoked. I don't know the difference between that and suspended, but his MLS credentials revoked for the rest of 2025. Busquets didn't receive anything. Somehow throwing a punch isn't, seen as bad by our league. But, what do you guys think about that? Go ahead, Luke. You can, or
Yeah.
Ahmed, whoever.
Go ahead, Luke. Go.
It's basically what everyone was predicting that was going to happen is, when that whole fight broke out, you saw Miami show their true colors to the league. It was the first time probably I've ever seen the MLS, all their fans together, unite against Miami in that sense, because they showed their true colors. The Miami, group that voted by association, Busquets, Alba, Suarez, and Messi, all showed their true colors in that moment, and it was ridiculous. It was unsportsmanlike. It was unprofessional. It made a laughing stock of the league. It completely wiped the legitimacy of Leagues Cup, and it even topped it off better with Seattle Sounders winning the game. Seattle Sounders winning the game in that moment. And I don't know if you lot saw this, but Seattle Sounders actually were allowing fans to trade in their Messi kits for like Paul Rothrock kits or something like that.
Yeah.
And I found it a smart move. I don't know what you lot think of it. Of course, you lot can share your thoughts on it, but I found it a smart move. And even to top that off, he scored the winner, I think. Or he scored the goal to like absolutely put Miami to bed. So
yeah,
it's funny how these things come around and the narrative changes after all. The league is going to defend it because, they might be bending the rules a little bit because there's no way they can afford all those players and still get away with it. So, but it is what it is, what goes around comes around. And
we can only hope.
Miami got what was coming to them that night. So, yeah, that's my thoughts. What do you lot think?
I mean, we knew going into it that the response was going to be a joke. What I don't understand is how you had Suarez, right? You had Busquets. Alvarez didn't get anything. Falcone. If you look up pictures of this fight, literally, there is one person that in every single picture you see has the guy in a headlock. That's where the whole group is. They're trying to separate them. He nowhere to be found. Like you know what? A picture is worth 1,000 words, they say, right? So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it wasn't what it looked like. But from watching the video as it happened, it sure looked to me like he had the guy in a headlock and everybody else was trying to get him off of him, right? And that's how a lot of what transpired happened. So how somebody can do that, that's literally in every picture that you see. If you Google his name right now with the fight, you'll see like every other picture. How somebody can do that and get away with zero is beyond me. Like, just blows my mind. Forget Suarez and Busquets and all that other stuff because their names. Who's Falcone? Like, really, in the big picture of things, when you compare him to like a Messi, a Suarez, right? Nothing. Him and Alvarez. Alvarez is it? Am I saying the name right? I don't remember his. I don't know his exact.
I think it's Arviles.
Arviles. Zero. Zip. Like, tell me. Give me something. Give me something so that I can complain about what you gave him, but nothing? That's just giving a green light for all kinds of other BS. And for the treatment that the Sounders coach got, to not have anything for any of those other, give me a break. Just cut the BS, really.
Absolutely.
And with all these teams, they have their motto on their thing, what we're about, what we're this, what we're that, the badge. Those guys, the minute they did those level of players that are world-class players, you know what they said about that badge on their shirt? They don't give up. You know what about it? Okay.
We said it, man, that they feel that they're above the league, above the team.
Oh my God.
because they came from Europe.
Because you know what, the league is trying to keep a clean image, and fans don't, city fans, keep it clean. How about telling the players that you have as plastered all over the place to act the right way? Because you know what, you have kids that watch, right? You're worried about saying the F word during the matches, which is a part of the sport. So what are we turning this into, hockey now? Because if that's the case, I mean, bring it on, but that's not what the sport is.
I'll take it. I'll take Janssen in a fight with
You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously,
well, and I mean, Mehmed, you're right. I mean, I hate. I'm not throwing you under the bus here, Luke, but Luke and I got yelled at one of the Leagues Cup matches because there were some fans of one of the Mexican teams, like, mocking us when they almost scored a goal in the Atlas match.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we're right there as you're facing the wall, the left-hand side, a row in from the stands, and
Mm-hmm.
they were directing it right towards us, so we gave it right back to them.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden we have one of the club staffers coming up and telling us to stop, and we're like, what
But
about
that's because
them?
you're at the wall, so you're like the guinea pigs, like the
Yeah.
bashing. You know what I mean? It's like,
And then the Miami match,
This is where I was going to get to here. And this is sorry for interrupting you, but this is where I was going to get to here, because this is what wound me up. Because we go to every game nearly, we stand in the wall, and it's normally a great time. And it's like, the subs come over, the trainers come over, and they do their little warm-ups, and everyone has a go. They have a go back. It's like banter.
Yeah.
It's football. For some reason, and this is what's different in this game with Miami, is that their trainers stood there the whole game. And when Miami scored, I think it was that first goal, right, to go, I think, John, if I'm correct on this, 1-0 up, 1-0 up, right?
Yeah.
The trainer came, turned over, and started taunting the wall, right? And, if you can dish it out, you better can take it.
Uh-huh.
So what happened is we scored the equalizer. Then all the fans went and gone at him. Then we got in trouble for it.
Wow.
But he shouldn't be there. One, he shouldn't even be there, because I've never even seen a coach stand on the sideline for the entire game. Yeah, when the players are warming up and stuff like that. But it just shows the gamesmanship and the bending of the rules and the power of the league, even over other teams' stadiums.
Wow.
Now, Luke, you do have to. Now, I did sort it out with security.
Yeah.
I did talk to. I'll keep him nameless, but I did talk to one of the Orlando City people in security, and we did get it figured out. Because earlier in that match, we were asked, the same guy that came over to us in the Leagues Cup match said, "Hey, we don't mind you giving it to the other team, just don't do it to the other fans. Leave it, leave your taunts or whatever to the people on the people on the team." So when they come over, we score the first goal, they score the equalizer. He comes over and taunts us. I mean, Luke and I had a very good go at him for quite some time. And then one of the contracted security people who's never been in front of the wall. One, why you have a first-time person, somebody that's never been in front of the supporters section, be there for that match is beyond me. She's usually over in the rich seats by where David sits. She starts yelling at us, and it wasn't just Luke and I. There was a bunch of us over there giving it to him, and it wasn't just one coach. There were 4 coaches. And then a little bit later, one of the Orlando City's, or I guess it stayed draw. It was a draw all the way through the half, but we were still giving him a go at it. But still, one of Orlando City, the staffer that we talked to, told us to stop, and that's when I told him to come up there, because I was confused when we had been given clear instructions by another individual from Orlando City to keep it to the team. He came up and did talk to us and figure it out, but it's just, it's no different. He's like, well, they don't want you guys see, they don't want to see you guys, doing stuff like that because of the cameras. It's like, who cares? And then, 2 weeks later, you have Miami doing that when they're on the camera. We're barely, the only time we're on the camera is if it's a corner kick or they're showing the coach at the beginning of each half and
Uh-huh.
they're going right down the sideline there.
Yeah.
And, so we got that. We did get that figured out eventually, but it's just such a double standard. And I mean, my opinion on it is the league's actually giving Miami a break. Think about the amount of matches they have 3 matches in hand. They basically have to play.
They're about to play 7 matches in 13 days. Good
Yeah.
luck with them.
So you're giving Messi or Busquets and Suarez, 2 guys that are probably going to retire after this year, a free break. I go back to, there was a job I had that, I worked until 11 o'clock one night and then had to be in at 4 a.m. the next night and just couldn't wake up enough to drive and called in. And I was in the middle of working, was it 6 straight doubles? And they suspended me for a day. I'm like, thanks for the free day off this week. I didn't have any off days for the next 6 or 7 days. Thanks for the free off day. It kind of reminds me of that situation where they should be in trouble and they're not really getting in trouble. They're just getting free off days.
I mean, and nobody's surprised. Nobody's shocked by that. So, to the people that are still like burned by it, just
It's
let
just
it be.
sad.
Listen, you gotta let football talk on the pitch. Personally, I feel that they're gonna drop a lot of points. They might find themselves at the bottom end of that playoff qualification bracket, and if they're not careful, they can't even drop out. They aren't. Football is cruel and unpredictable. We say it all the time. So, as far as our friends down south, play your games. Stop talking crap to people like me that we got too much money to worry about your poor selves. And that's the bottom line. Is if you're unlucky to catch us in the playoffs, we're gonna send you home.
Well, you
Simple as
said
that.
it. Well, you said it, David. How many games did you say? 6 games in 13 days.
7 games in 13 days. So
7
basically,
games.
they're playing weekend, Wednesday for 2
Yeah,
weeks.
so 7 games in 13 days. You think really the Messi, Busquets, Suarez, Alba, who are all on the back end of their careers, are going to manage to play all those games with basically that's their team because they've got really they've got some depth, but they've not got a lot of depth. It's gonna this for their league campaign necessarily. I know they took a hit on they threw all their eggs in one basket on Leagues Cup. They were bagging on winning Leagues Cup, but they didn't end up winning it. So this might actually, we don't know what's going to happen with them. But 7 games in 13 days, those old guys won't probably hack it.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
they're
mean, it
gonna
doesn't matter how old you are. That's gonna.
I know. Even for Premier League players, 7 games in 13 days, I don't think most
plus
Salah.
the travel. Look, you gotta add
Yeah.
that the travel and I'm sorry. We had gone through those type of stretches and they're brutal.
Yeah,
They
we
are.
went. We basically went through that the month of May, and because of Open Cup and everything, and um, you saw how we looked at the end of May. It was the guys by halftime were done, and the results showed that. But moving back to our team, to Orlando City, we did have this past weekend off, which was brutal because there was nothing on except for international play. And if you're a U.S. fan, you don't look forward to those matches much anymore because I don't know what's going on with them. They're just dreadful. But we do currently sit in 5th still. We are right there on the step of being, having a first round home match. And, we, it's, end of the season, the home stretch. That's the reason for the name of the show. We're teams in the home stretch. We're currently 3 points behind Nashville, who we do play head to head one more time this week in 2 weeks. But our next match is against the Eastern bottom dweller.
That are
As you all
officially
know,
eliminated. They're playing for nothing at this point.
yes, I believe. Yeah, they are officially eliminated. But this is a team under Poppy, especially since we've been a higher, jumped up a tier with him here. We do tend to like to play down to our competition. Look at the Montreal match. We sat back up 1-0 at home and ended up drawing that match. Look what we did against Atlanta in Atlanta. Same sort of deal. So this year we've shown that we tend to play down to our competition and haven't been as good as we should be against the bottom teams in the East. We'll start with Ahmed here. What do you guys think of, hope and see the match coming out as on Saturday?
You know, breaks always worry me with our team. Okay, because we think the boys are gonna come back rested, they're gonna come back ready to go, and somehow or another, more often than not, it ends up backfiring. And to David's point, DC United at this point, they're playing for nothing, but you know what they play for? To ruin somebody else's day. And we're fabulous at that. We're the giving team that takes a team like DC United that says, you know what, guys, don't feel bad. Here's an extra 3 points just to make you feel better, at our own cost. So that's really my concern, is that coming out of breaks historically, it's not been pretty for us. So I am worried. And if you're not worried, you haven't been a fan long enough, because these are the situations that we've seen over and over again. So I really hope that we, these last few matches we have, they're behind us, and that we are back on that streak that we had, because at this point, this is the easiest of the matches that we have coming up, if I'm not mistaken. Right? So if there's a
Correct.
game that we need to win, it's this one. You know what I mean? We can't give up the points that should be easy points just because we're just coming out of a break. So I don't know. Those are my thoughts, man.
Well, if I may jump in, with 4 players gone on international duty, two of them in Europe, one in CONCACAF and the other one in CONMEBOL. There's no excuse. I gotta say one thing. Spicer keeps becoming that signing that has surprised everybody, including myself. He played this past week on another episode of My Worlds Collide. Spicer was a starter for Trinidad alongside the legendary Orlando City player Kevin Molino and Stevenage Phillips, Dan Phillips. So I was surprised to see this. What are the odds, right? They did fantastic. Nil result against Curacao could have been better, but Curacao had that team packed with players from the Netherlands. So I'll give him a break on that. And we saw that Pasalic and Brekalo were in the European qualifiers. Unfortunately, Pedro Galese and Peru have been eliminated from contention towards the World Cup. Um, so anyhow, those players are at the top of the heap, and they they should go and dispatch DC easily. Now the question is, and I finish with this: is we have no Luis Muriel, and we just got our threatening weapon, Ramiro Enrique, sold to Saudi, as we discussed last week briefly. Seeing him with the pictures and what it looked like days in by the airport office. I mean, God, I hope that is a great opportunity for him. I just don't think that he is as happy, perhaps, for the destination. But what I hear is he's gonna get paid more money and maybe an opportunity to get some European eyes. Who knows? I've been to that part of the world. God, Orlando beats that part of the world by by a landslide. It's gonna be a tough. It's gonna be a tough call for Duncan McGuire, because if Ramiro is gone, and I would love to hear your opinion on this. If Ramiro is gone and Muriel is not available, is Duncan and who else against a DC United, like Ahmed said, that is here to urinate on our parade?
Yeah, I mean, I think they bring oh, what's his name? The player. They actually don't show on FootMob that Gillespie is, or that Muriel is suspended. So I got to do a little
Yeah,
more.
well, he's going to be, unfortunately, for that
Because of the
stupid,
red card, right?
Stupid
unnecessary
red
red
card.
card. Yeah,
But I could see if they appealed it because he never made contact with the guy's face, that they would have won that appeal.
Yeah, I don't know if they would risk that though, because if they don't get the appeal, it's a 2-game match. Being right,
correct.
I wouldn't.
Let me see if there's anything on that. But I think we bring up the I can't think of his name. The youngster from OCB, the academy
Carvalho?
player. No,
Ellis.
Ellis. Thank you. I think we bring up Ellis potentially. Maybe bring up Shaq. Shaq, you wouldn't even have to do a short term loan for, because he's already, I believe, on a senior team contract. Ellis, I could see them doing a short term loan
For me, this is Shaq Mohammad's moment of glory or infamy, because if he can hack it on this one game against this one team, I have already said it. Maybe his time is coming to an end since his contract is up in December.
I think you're right, David. Like, you have to realize that, if I remember correctly, we paid money for Shaq Mohammed as a draft pick. Like,
Right, we traded to get his spot.
we
Yes.
traded a first team player and money for Shaq Mohammed. So
Oh, that's right.
And
That's Juan. Yeah, that's what it was.
Wow.
that was still a very strange decision, even now looking back at it. That we traded a first team player and money for a second string player, and he's gonna have to turn up eventually. I don't know if it's now, or if I don't know if it, but if there's an opportunity on your doorstep as a striker to come in and do a job, whether that's starting or off the bench, it's now, because you're playing bottom of the league, must-win game. Your manager's tactics actually fit away from home, strangely enough. But there is an opportunity for him to make a name for himself. Say, yeah, I am meant for this team. I am meant for this first team. Or it's an opportunity for that Jackson Platts to come in and possibly make a name for himself, like bursting through into the first team. Either one. But I would say the pressure's more on. I wouldn't say there's pressure necessarily, because it's been a very long time since we signed him onto a first team contract, Shaq Mohammed. But it'll be a good to stop, adding the question marks to his name and more, putting a statement to his name at least. So
yeah, I could see it being something where we potentially bring them both. Bring Shaq up if we're kind of searching for a goal, and I mean Duncan probably isn't 100%. I mean, the past 2 weeks probably helped with him being able to go full on in training, but the dude runs himself to death anyway. Duncan does, so I could see maybe late bringing on bringing on Shaq if first God forbid we need a goal. To help with the press with his speed and maybe get in behind the defensive line. And then I could also see them bringing Ellis up because of how technical he is with the ball and his ability to, control the ball, his passing ability. Because if he had a little bit more speed, I feel he would be more of an attacking midfielder than a striker because of how skilled he is with the ball on his foot. So I could see them bringing both of them up, to be honest, scenario wise. But it remains to be seen. It will be interesting. Um, I'm just worried that we're going to play down to them, and it'll be a nail biter, Poppy special, 2-0, 2-1, 1-0 final score, when it really shouldn't be.
This should not be a stressful game to watch.
Yeah,
Absolutely not. It shouldn't be. But
But
we know as Orlando fans, it will be. It most likely will be. We will most likely sit back. But again, we play a style of play of football like we play away from home. So we play. That's why most seasons our away form has been quite decent because we play like an away team. So I don't feel like it should be a problem. It most like we will make it difficult for ourselves, like any team does. But it's going to be that's football, isn't it? It's nothing's ever easy unless you're a Real Madrid fan or like where it's all positive.
yeah, and like I think it was Ahmed was saying, our schedule doesn't get easier at all. Our next 4 matches, so including Saturday, we only have 6 matches remaining. Making sure my counting's right. 2, 4, 6. In September, we end September. The last 2 matches in September is at home against Nashville and away against Cincinnati. Both teams above us. Then we play
Columbus at home.
Columbus. And then we play one of the top teams in the West in Vancouver. Both of those are home matches. The Vancouver one's the rescheduled one from 2 weeks ago now, or 10 days ago. And then we end the season on the road in Toronto. So, it doesn't get easy. Columbus is currently sitting in 7th. Cincinnati's sitting in 2nd. In the West, Vancouver's in 3rd. And then we end the season with what should be another easy win in Toronto. So, I mean, the schedule's against us. Luckily we've had decent success in past years against the 3 teams, 3 tough teams we play in the East: Nashville, Cincinnati, and Columbus. Hopefully we can figure out Nashville here at home next weekend, which we'll cover more next week. Cincinnati, we've done well with them against the road. And then, Columbus, which brings us into our next topic, is somebody that we've had, in my opinion, one of the most memorable regular season matches that I can remember with Orlando City 2 years ago against Columbus, where we came down. We came back twice from a 2-goal deficit to win it at the death. Everybody talks about what they remember with Ramiro. That's the match I'll remember because he had a brace in that match.
Oh, yeah.
So the club did make it official today that we did sell Ramiro Enrique to I don't have the club pulled up, but we did sell him to a club in Saudi Arabia.
Correct.
And good for him. He just played against Messi, and now his new team on Sunday is actually playing against Cristiano Ronaldo's team over there. I saw somebody say that on X today. So
yes, CR7.
Yeah. So we wish him the best. He was very, very serviceable. We saw the first moments we saw from him was that preseason friendly they had for the season ticket members a couple years ago, and he when he nutmegged Tolkien. I don't know if you guys remember that on the side. I'll never forget that with him.
He just went flying by.
Yeah. And then, like I said, his match a couple years ago in 23 against Columbus, where we came back twice. Learned the hard way from a friend of the show, never to leave matches early. And almost had Had another friend of the show that was there with David get arrested by OCPD for assault on a police officer for
What?
celebrating.
Good
You
times.
remember that, David, when Tom went up and like tried to hug the police officer afterwards?
Oh my God! Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh God! Our good friend Tom Lord from
Really?
Bolton, England.
Wow.
Which, by the way, Tom should be on his way to the States here pretty soon. I think, right?
Yeah, it usually comes around September, right?
I
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
heard from him. I know they were planning October, November, but I haven't heard anything from
Yeah,
them.
I'll reach out to him. Obviously, he's in bed at this point, but I'll reach out to him. But too many stories about Tom. Too many stories about
That's a
Tom.
separate episode.
Hopefully
From,
they're good.
from just from that one, 4-day stretch.
Oh man, I love Tom. He knows. Um, him and his family, they're great people, and he just loves Orlando City. And hey, the beauty is he's on vacation, so he can abuse his body and then sleep in. Unfortunately, John and myself and Ahmed, well, we have to work. I know the worst that he ever got was the Miami game a couple years back. I couldn't
Oh my
make
god.
it because it fell on Yom Kippur. So yeah, that was something else. But anyways, if Tom, if you're listening to this, we love you and can't wait to write another story with all the ones that we have. But my happiest memory of Ramiro was definitely that game against Columbus. He's gonna be missed, man. He really is. But Ricardo Moreira has hinted at the fact that the offer was so good, so tempting, that we just couldn't say no. And also, at the end of the year, like we said, we have a lot of players that are gonna be out of contract. Orlando's gonna look very differently come next year. So perhaps this is clearing the decks, so we can go and purchase that one player that's gonna help us lift the trophy. I know we're gonna make the playoffs. Are we gonna make a lot of noise? I don't know, man. The question's still out there, right? Out in the stratosphere, if we are gonna make noise or not. I think this is Vancouver's year to lose, and I want to see that match up with them simply because I'm curious to see what we're all about. If we lose against DC, then I gotta tell you the truth, man. We have no business going to the playoffs if we're gonna lay an egg like that.
Don't say that. Don't say that. We're not putting it out there. We're not
No, I hear
losing
you, bro.
to
I know. I
DC
don't like.
United. Don't say that.
No, bro. But it like, come on, look. I mean, all of us here had our hearts broke. We said on the show at the end, right? If you haven't cried for joy or anger over football, have you really football? And I gotta say we have done a lot of that. But we're going to this game with me thinking that the boys need to. We lost 3 games in a row. This is an opportunity to shake it off and make DC pay for the sins of other people and come back with that energy because Nashville has been talking a lot of garbage, after 2 matches that unfortunately for us fell at times when there were bigger fish to fry. So the game when we return is gonna show us if they are that good that they can beat us like that. And I have a funny story about Nashville real quick. During our 2022 Cup run, um, and look, you met them. My friends from Stevenage were there with me, and I remember asking my friend Callum because Gary Smith was a former manager for Stevenage, and I said, "Well, what was so bad about him that every time that he's brought up, people always make a face at Stevenage?" And he said, "Well, it's because he always makes decisions that at the end cheat the team out of points." And what did he do? He took all the weapons out when he was winning comfortably, and here comes Rodrigo Schlegel, equalizes, and as you guys know, we go into penalties, and we beat him. And at the end, I have never forgotten that moment because it was like as he was just predicting how the game was gonna be. And that same prediction goes to us. You know, Oscar has to. I think that walk away from some of the things that he does where he feels comfortable. Personally, in the game against LA Galaxy, I felt that Kyle Smith was not the guy to be taking that spot as center back. I feel very strongly, I still do, and I'm willing to die on that hill, that Thomas Williams should have been that guy. You know, because you know, on a pinch, on a desperate pinch, Cal Smith can be that guy, but he is not a center back. He lacks the speed. He lacks the height. And I thought that if we're gonna phone it in, right, might as well give this young man an opportunity to show. I mean, the last OCB game, he was stellar. So I don't understand. I don't understand why Oscar goes back to the things that he does. In fact, our internal joke here is when Kyle Smith comes in, he's the harbinger of the. We're just gonna go for the tie. It's like a human white flag, if you will. So I don't know, guys. I just think that this is a very important game. We have some guys that have done some good football this past week. By the way, Slovenia with Brekalo 2-2 tie against Sweden, and Pasalic. They just beat the pants off of Montenegro, so to remain unbeaten. But you know, if you look at the roster for Croatia, for the love of God,
I mean, the fact that he's getting minutes in Croatia says something. I mean, he could be,
a lot, yeah.
he
Oh, by the
could
way,
be.
talking about that, you guys remember that our good friend Facundo Torres left us because the manager over Uruguay said, "Hey, if you're playing in MLS, you're not playing in my team." He did not get a call up, and from what I hear, he's not having such nice game time at Palmeiras. The fans are calling for his head. So I'm sad to hear that, but you know, again, sometimes the grass is not greener on the other side.
I mean, yeah, I understand what you're saying, definitely with Torres, but he had to do what he had to do for his career. But I can't believe, like, when Torres left, I was like, it's going to be difficult to find a better replacement than Torres. And somehow, you know, Torres was very um, selfless, I would like to say. He didn't really want to explore in taking the ball and, you know, driving at players. And that's exactly what Pasalic is. He's a player that will take the ball, take responsibility. Looks like he's got a good head on his shoulders. Not saying that Torres wasn't necessarily, but he just looks way more experienced in the way he carries himself and, you know, what a player he is for us, you know.
Yeah, he's more seasoned.
And the funny thing is, I still think he's got room for improvement. As much as well as he's done, he makes he's one of very few players who I think have played for this club that makes good players like players around him good players and good players great players. So he improves everyone around him. Like, you know, I'd like to know Angulo. You know, Angulo's, you know, kind of stepped in and got into a bit of form this season, despite, you know, having a few rocky games that here and there. And, you know, people saying like, you know, he's different after he signed for the club after his loan spell. And, you know, I feel like Pasalic has something to do with that. He's got a lot of experience. He's got a lot of, you know, it helps playing with the best players in the world like Modric and getting that experience in the national team. So Pasalic is fantastic, I think. So, you know,
No, I agree with you.
if we can find another one of him somewhere.
Hey, we may. I mean, we already got what was Enrique 4.5.
It was $3 million plus add-ons and a
And then,
sell-on.
yeah,
Okay,
and
so
then
we got money.
All
We got money
told,
to do
if,
stuff.
if he hits all the markers for the add-ons, it could be $4 million, and then if they sell him, we get a percentage of that. But yeah, I just looked up Facundo's stats for Palmeiras, and through 18 matches, he has 4 goals, 2 assists, started 15 of them. He's played, we'll just round up, 1,180 minutes. So I mean, not great, but as you guys know, he starts season slow.
I feel like he's also unfortunate in that he's also a victim of circumstances, because obviously, with the inclusion of like Estevao and players like that, you know, the MLS was kind of like a stepping stone league, and it's kind of transitioning again into its own league where there's own players and they're playing like Pasalic and all of them. It's kind of transitioning from there, from that stepping stone into Europe. And teams like Manchester City are going straight to Palmeiras and just paying the money for them. And players like Estevao are coming out of like Brazil. I'm pretty sure there was one that came out of I can't think on the top of my head, sorry, but Fluminense or players like that. But a lot of players are coming from the MLS to Europe just straight from Brazil. So I feel like he's in a difficult spot at the moment where these fantastic players are just coming out of Brazil and going straight into the team. And I feel like that's where he was coming from, but with his move. But I think he'll find his feet eventually. He's still moderately. He's still got a long way in his career. So I wish Torres the best.
Listen, with that money, what I would do is I will sign Zizo, that cat from Ahmed's Egyptian team. That's who I want. I'm telling you, man. I was salivating at the mouth. Columbus took the Palestinian kid. What's his name? And I'm like, why can't we just go do that? You're muted, brother.
I was gonna say, wait till we play Columbus, man. That's another one. And it's funny you say that because I was just looking it up. My team, they had their abysmal performance at the Club World Cup, and their season is off to a garbage start. You know what they just did?
They fired the manager.
Yep.
Wait a minute. So this is the third manager in.
So what happened was this manager, they literally hired him right before the club. Their first match in the Club World Cup was his first match.
Oh my
and they
God.
just sacked him 4 matches into the season because they lost 2 matches. No, they had 2 draws, a win, and a loss.
Oh, that's what happens when you play for powerhouses in a country.
I mean, dude, it just made me think back to us, when we talk about it. Here's a team like them, they're not having it. That's not how.
When you look at what happened in Germany too, can't remember what the team is, but the manager left for Barcelona, I believe, and they already fired their new manager. 4 matches into the season, not even.
Yeah. I mean, talk about literally, it's 6 or 7 matches in, and they got rid of the guy.
Yeah.
Imagine if we did that based on performance for bad.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I mean, what Luke's saying, I saw on X. I haven't been able to confirm if it's got legs or not, but one of the U.S. men's national team pages, one of the bloggers or whatever, social media influencers, if you will, said that apparently Inter is tracking Christian Roldan, a lifetime MLSer.
Okay.
Just to show that there's look at Endrick in Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
Look at his quality. And he's 25, 26. So, I mean, the MLS, as long as we step away from, what Miami's doing and what the league has done in the past, the league's going to continue to grow, and once we get Garber out of office, I think the league will grow and get actually a soccer person in there. The league will grow, leaps and bounds then, because, one thing, especially like I brought up with the national team, and I'd be interested to hear what you guys say about this, and this is a league-wide thing, is what it is, obviously, like every country, most countries, the big countries have a lot of their players, and especially European countries, a lot of their players play for the league in that country. You look at England, you look at Spain, you look at Germany, you look at Italy. Um, so I'd be willing, and the U.S. doesn't. Almost every, um, U.S. player that makes a national team that starts plays overseas. And, the question that people always ask is why can't the MLS keep their players? Well, they don't have the roster space, the cap space or the roster space really to do it. What if they made an exception to where, like the league made an exception, kind of a U.S. designated player type of situation where every team had an uncapped spot to, keep, let's say, an Alex Freeman or, sign Weston McKinney, and they're able to pay him, equitably what he would be making in Europe.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic idea. It's about keeping, because I've lived in this country for quite a bit now. I feel like Americans want to see Americans succeed. That is it. Is they want to see somebody who they can relate to, you know, and they want to see it in person as well. Like it's like any other sport, like a Tom Brady. They want to see Tom Brady in America playing American football, or they want to see like a LeBron James playing in America playing basketball. Like I don't think Americans would. You can tell me I'm wrong. They're not going to care about Christian Pulisic playing for Chelsea. Now, if they can get Christian Pulisic playing for, an MLS team inside the United States, captain of the US men's team, that would be massive. It's attracting American players back to the league, and it's the first step is keeping them here. Not letting your Alex Freemans go and not letting
And the Aronson brothers.
yeah, the Aronson brothers go. Like keeping Kevin Sullivan as long as you can in this league. I know he's signed for Manchester City, but keeping Kevin Sullivan in this league, promote him as you can. While you still have him. There's like this is our Manchester City signing. He's an American. He's gone through an American academy. He's gone through an MLS team. You've got to promote that. You've got to say like he will be in the 2026 World Cup. Excite people. Excite. There's only one way to educate people on the game, and that is educate people. You can't just leave it under the radar. You got to promote it. You know, it's it's the only way to do it, and I don't think the league necessarily. The league is responsible. I think the league needs to do it. The league needs to promote U.S. soccer in this country instead of
Right.
promoting some Argentinian who's on borrowed time.
I agree 1,000%, my friend. And also doesn't help that MLS treats the federation as a competitor. They treat it as a competitor. And they treat the Open Cup as a competition that is trying to steal their business. They're not focusing on growing the sport or respect for the sport or veneration for the sport. They're looking at it as these people are taking money away from us. And I have to say this: it also doesn't help that the national team plays their games behind paywalls, where the regular person can't have access to it. I didn't watch the last game. Thankfully, I didn't. It was
Didn't miss much.
yeah, exactly. But at the same time, that we are not exposing the team. And one thing that I hated, I'm gonna, if I can be honest for a minute, when the last time they played in Orlando, which was against Panama, one of the things that I hated about the event is like people wouldn't sit down. Like I paid for a seat. My wife is handicapped; she can't stand for 90 minutes, and the ushers were like, "Oh well, we have no control. It's not our event." Like, I'm sorry, this is our house, they're guest, and also dealing with the folks, our national team fans. It's not they're not a happy bunch. They're not, like they're like Europe, Europe. Listen, if Europe is so great, go support a national team in Europe and leave the American team alone. I think there's two disconnects between the folks that follow club football versus the ones with the national team. Personally, I find national team football for any nation boring, really. It's basically, it's like an all star, if you want to call it that way. And they go out there and good luck. I love club football. I'll kill for my club, for my nation. Okay, I have a passport. I mean, doesn't get any better than say, hey, I will join the military to serve the nation. So I guess I got that going for myself. But the U.S. national team, I don't know. It's all right, but to me, club football trumps national team any day. And to build on what Luke was saying, the reality is that in this nation where football has to compete with all sorts of sports, and our country's so massive, the whole continental Europe can fit in the lower 48 of the United States. So distance is also a problem here. I honestly, how do you solve it? I don't know. It's beyond me. But we got to find a solution.
So I compiled a list of players that were born in the United States, if they born and grew up in the United States, that would have potentially played in the MLS. Um, you have Weston McKennie, grew up his whole life here. Then he actually, I don't remember if he got MLS time or not. You have
I think
Christian
he did.
Pulisic. Okay, you have Christian Pulisic. He obviously moved over to Germany when he was young and played in the Dortmund system. But Christian Pulisic would be here. The Aronson brothers, the older ones currently playing for Leeds. He typically gets minutes, starts some matches. The younger one plays in Germany. You have Tim Weah. I believe he grew up most of his life here and then moved overseas, but he was going to be
Who's
a
the one that was born in New York when his parents were on a layover?
I don't recall.
There's one of the it's a guy that obviously grew up in England.
Are you talking about
Yunus Musa.
Balogun?
Yes, thank you, brother.
Yeah.
That guy is as American as a hot dog. I'm sorry, the guy's a British guy that couldn't whack it in England, and we just picked him up. The guy literally was born here, and 2 days later he was on an airplane to England.
Mm-hmm. It's the
I
same with
mean,
Balogun. It's the same with a lot of them. So to me, if you can, just those 4 or 5 guys I meant. Oh, Tyler Adams. That's
Sorry.
the one I had written
Sorry,
down.
I'd just like to say it wasn't Yunus Musa. It was Balogun. You're right.
thank you, brother.
It was Balogun because
Okay.
I was thinking, like, he's born in the US, got an English accent, and all of a sudden he's playing in England. And I was very confused.
Musa's the same way. Anthony Robinson was born over. She wasn't even born in England, but he was I believe one of his parents were in the military. A U.S. citizen. Weah, or not Weah. Musa, I believe it was the same thing.
He was born in America.
Yeah, was he born in America?
I think he might. It's either
military.
He was born in America, moved to England, or born in England, moved to America. It's between the two.
Something like that.
Very well.
But so you take those 5 guys. You take Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, Christian Pulisic, the Aronson brothers. You can even add Kevin Sullivan to that, who will be leaving here in 2 years now. Because of the way Europe's work labor laws are. If you don't have a European passport, you can't play professional sports until you're 18, until you're an adult. So you can't even play for the reserve team until you're an adult. Happened to Pulisic. Pulisic got around it because his grandfather was a Croatian.
Yes, and by the way, he had an opportunity to play in Croatia. He just chose us.
Yes,
So people forget that real quick.
it was a half chance to play in Croatia. Croatia wasn't paying any attention to him. He came up in the U.S. system.
I think he was also very unfortunate at the time because I think Croatia had like Perisic and all of that on the wing. So I don't think he was. I think he was kind of looking at, the short term for his career instead of the long term. Because I don't know, maybe Pulisic could make it in the squad nowadays, but I'm not sure. But I think he was kind of looking at game time and stuff like that. But the wing, he would probably he was looking at definitely his long term career, and he said,
this thing about nationalities is kind of tricky too, because like for example, I'm blanking out on his name right now. Jordan Roberts, who plays for Stevenage, his grandmother, one of them, was from Northern Ireland, and so he plays for Northern Ireland just because of that. The guy was born in England, never lived in Northern Ireland, so and we also had like for Puerto Rico, it happens all the time. If the U.S. is the target, and if that doesn't work out, then the territories is always the backup. I don't know if you guys remember the name of that goalkeeper that we got on loan from Tottenham.
Brandon Austin.
Yes. By the way, everybody kept saying, "Oh, his dad is American. His dad is American." Well, his dad is from St. Croix, from the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Yeah,
and that's how he was.
Is that how he qualified? I was wondering.
Yes.
How he qualified to be an American, because I was
correct. So there you go.
I'm like,
his dad wasn't even from a state; he was from a territory.
I was like, born in England,
right? It's just like if you're from the Channel Islands or from Isle of Man, are you still British? You know what I mean? It's sort of like that gray area,
Yeah, you're still from England.
Right, exactly. So it's just one of those things. I don't honestly to go back to deeper into the national team. To be honest with you, is it salvageable what's happening? Because I am from the again, I have said this many times. I'm from the generation that fell in love with football thanks to the 1994 World Cup. It just happened at the best time of my life possible. I just graduated high school that year. I joined the Navy, and I deployed overseas. And sometimes when we hit port, we'll hit port with our allied navies, and I will hang out with the guys from the Royal Navy. And by the way, this is before the internet. This is before being able to watch football on satellite television and all that. Back in those days, the only way to watch football is somebody will record it on a VHS and send it to you in the mail. And I had the opportunity to watch a lot of football with those guys. And I always say this: I thank the guys that will sit with me and teach me about the game. And there was other people that were like, "You're a Yank, get out of here," and just push me to the side. So I appreciate the guys that took the time to teach me. But the fact is that those teams in the 90s and early 2000s, they show grit, and they show like that American ingenuity, like, we're here, I don't care if you don't think that we're good, we're just gonna show you. And I just don't see that now, because these guys, for the most part, are having opportunities that those guys from the early days could only dream of. And our manager, I don't think has a grasp of what's going on. I saw this thing on Twitter, where it's like he has lost the last 6 games. I mean, I don't know, guys. I just think that
I think it comes down to, you look at all you look at all the big names in international soccer, and they all have a specific style you expect when you watch them. You look at Brazil, you expect the flair, the creativity. You look at German, you expect them to be very, very disciplined, very fundamental. Italy's going to be a little, more defensive, kind of on the counter. You could go on and on. With the U.S., you don't have that. We had that, and it was, we're going to be tough. We're going to be, we're going to stick with every team out there. We're going to be, a lot of people were considered the way the U.S., has had to play the entire time we've had a national team very cringeworthy, where, we're a bunch of virtually nobodies, when our best player can't even stick it in England because it's too physical, talking about Landon Donovan. Our next best player's Clint Dempsey, which, he was a quality player, had quality in the Premier League and everything. But I feel like right now, and especially the last, 10 years basically, since we didn't make the World Cup in 18, we haven't had an identity we play with. There hasn't been that, oh, we're going to go out and play this way. We've tried to copy very much, almost an English style type of soccer, where we try to play out of the back, make these passes, breaking down the lines, stuff like that. But we don't have our specific style, and we can copy, but I just feel like it's a team that doesn't have a, when the game's in the trenches, when we're 1-0 down against Korea like we were Sunday, they don't have that habitual thing they can fall back to, if that makes sense.
No, I agree with you. And I would love to hear Luke's perspective about this, because I'm gonna make a quick comment. The problem, like, you nailed it. I feel that because you have two camps, the guys that the idiots that we're called, that happen to follow our local club, and let that be USL or MLS. um you have that camp, and then you have the people that are what we call the Euro snobs, right? The guys that turn their TV at 7 a.m. and watch a European powerhouse that will never sniff the relegation zone, and they think they know football. People like Luke and I, we follow teams in third division English football, and
Times out.
yeah, we roll with the punches, brother. That's real football. That's being in the
Mind you,
trenches.
Luke was born into it too.
Right, exactly. I mean, that's
Tough
why I
times
said,
out there, lads.
trust me, brother. I'm about to let you lose in a second. The thing is that that camp wants us to be like Europe. We can be like Europe because guess what? Europe, they not only is that culture part of their life experience, they go support their local club. They go support their local club. The football is not a TV show like it is for a lot of people that go on Twitter and they think they know football. I have said it many, many, many times. If you don't if you don't understand the joy and the excitement of getting dressed, driving to the stadium, meeting your friends there, enjoying soaking it in. You don't have somebody narrating in your ear telling you what you need to see. The camera's not showing you what they want you to see. You're just absorbing the environment. You are never going to understand how cruel, how unpredictable this game is. And therefore, your opinion is always going to be based on excellence that perhaps your local team doesn't have. You know, heartbreak, pressure makes diamonds, they say. Heartbreak is what makes a supporter who they are. So, with that said, look, what do you think? What's your impression? Because I see you as a guy, outsider, inside. I don't even know how to describe it because you have been here quite some time.
Yeah,
But at the same time, your early experiences were in England.
yeah.
Supporting all jokes to the side, Blackpool has been a very successful team over the years, and one that has been there for a long time. So
Most playoff wins ever,
there you go.
by any other football league, which shows that we can't get automatically promoted ever. So, yeah, there's probably a few more people out there on who I know on Twitter who could speak more on Blackpool and know more about me. My dad, all those people. Shout out them, but yeah, it's culture. It's it is what it is. So when we're like doing all this stuff and we're like you're learning about the game, you're learning it through your grandparents, your great grandparents, your dad, and you're gonna let your son become it. And when it comes to connecting that to the United States, is what you have to realize is Blackpool was created in 1884, I think, which is, you know, ages ago. Ages ago. Same for Stevenage. But they're moderately younger. I think they're a moderately.
Yeah, 1970. So that actually a Phoenix club of a Phoenix club. So
Yeah, so they're a moderately younger club. But what the Americans have to realize is those people who went to games, went to like, in my clubs, went to the old Bloomfield Road and went to the old North Stand. This is it. This is the old North Stand. This is the old because everything's going to change. This is, we're only just the beginning of this club's history. There's going to be so much history past this, heartbreak, triumph, hopefully more triumphs than heartbreaks. But it's young. So just bear with, let your kids go, take them to a football match. They maybe not like it and they maybe fall out of love with it and they maybe love it again and then fall out of love with it. But it's a part of the game. It's football. There's nothing like the game of football. And if you don't know anything about the game, it's not too late to try and learn. It's never too late. So
To
no,
me,
I
game
agree.
learned at the basic fundamental level. It's a very easy game to learn, and once you learn it, it's very easy to enjoy. Because I'm sorry, I've been to every major American sport there is, and there's nothing like a goal in soccer and
your team winning in the 90th minute. There's
or
nothing
even
like
I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
but I mean, I would even say I've been most games I've been to by far, even with Orlando City being there, is a Cincinnati Reds game, and I've seen my ninth inning walk off home runs, great plays to in the game and stuff to win the game, and I'll just go to the Miami match. That first goal. Not those weren't even close to the excitement. Those were so much more,
it was
exciting and thrilling than the ninth inning. In my opinion, the ninth inning walk off that I watched the Reds do. And I've seen my fair share of it. I had when the Reds were decent in 2010, I had tickets to basically every Saturday home game. Same thing in 2011. But it's just so different than soccer's so different than any other sport when it comes to once you're in it, and it's generally once a week. That's part of the reason American football has gotten so big is it's once a week. But it's just there's nothing like it. There's nothing like being there. There's nothing like, and this will be the segue into our final topic of the night. Nothing like being there to see your team, win a trophy, their first trophy. Which you were at that match, right, Luke? The US Open Cup final. Yeah. So also, were you there, David?
I sure was. I was there with my good friend Kevin Reese from Stevenage. Oh, and our good friend Taylor Williams.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, it was there was a lot of people from the UK that night that we know from the Twitter sphere.
Yeah.
So
So
it was
this
a great
past
night.
weekend was our three-year anniversary for winning the US Open Cup. One of the coolest things I've ever bought Orlando City. Luke, you were there to buy it with me, or whatever,
Wow.
watch me buy it.
Yeah.
That bottom picture there I have hanging up on my wall with
Mine's at home still.
yeah. Did you end up buying one too?
Yeah, I did. I did
Okay.
have that one. Yeah.
What the scarf?
No, the net.
No. I'll get it down. Hold on.
Oh yeah. I wish I had the opportunity. I waited too long,
Which,
and I
which,
didn't get the chance.
by the way, is genius. You know, it's a part of history. Like that's your first major trophy. It's
Yes.
genius.
Oh,
It's
it's not going to show up because of my background. Hold on.
Yeah. If maybe just stand up, John, and you put it against your chest.
Let's see if that works.
Yeah.
Nope, it's not going to work. Let me take the background off.
I seen it. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I want everybody else to see it because it. There you go.
There we go.
yeah.
Beautiful.
So that netting is actually the netting from one of the nets that was used during that match. They cut up. It's got the certificate of authenticity, everything. Says Orlando on the bottom and on a gold plate with our badge on it says Orlando City Net from U.S. Open Cup Final, Exploria Stadium 9/7/22.
What a great night.
So that's a match I will never forget that match.
Great night.
As long as I live. It was my dad's first time. Yeah, it was his first Orlando City match. It was the U.S. Open Cup Final. He flew down for it. It was funny because I didn't have season tickets. I was a member of the Ruckus at the time. And I forgot to set my alarm for the pre-sale. And that was one of the times somebody leaked the pre-sale code. So I get on.
By the way, people that do that, man, you're not doing.
I get on like 20 minutes after the pre-sale goes live, and there's no tickets left on the wall. And I'm sitting there just beside myself because it would have went from paying, what was it, $25, $30 a ticket to, $100 a ticket. And then I refreshed it, and I only needed 3 because it was going to be me, Brianne, and my dad. Barrett was only 7 months old at the time. So we were going to drop him off with her. We dropped him off with her parents, but I refreshed the page and 3 tickets magically appeared, and I gobbled those up quicker than I've bought anything else in my life. But such an amazing match. Cried before it, during it, after it. Was beside myself. Because I've been following Orlando City since 2012, 2013. Really seriously following them since about 2015, 2016, when, my financially I was able to afford to go to matches finally. And, Luke's been following it for, the same amount of time. David's been following it for, a couple of years longer than that. But I'd like to hear your guys' experiences of that game. David already kind of gave his, so Luke, you can go ahead.
Wow. So I remember that game. It was I woke up and all I could think about was that game. It was exciting. It was, I honestly thought the semi-final, when we won the semi-final, that was the final because we set it up with a USL team. No disrespect to Sacramento, they were a fantastic team. They made it to the final. I think they went on to beat like 5 MLS teams on their way to the final.
Sure did.
But we were clinical that night, and our players showed out, and it was the first time I've ever seen any of my teams win a major trophy, which says a lot, because Blackpool haven't won a major trophy since 1953, and England haven't won one since 1966. So, seeing one of my teams win a major trophy is a major accomplishment for us. So it was possibly up there with one of the best days of my life. So, and it will probably still be one of the best days of my life because, what a time it was for all of us as Orlando fans. Even after the fact, we went through all that. I think it was even sweeter in victory because we went through all that turmoil with, not going through playoff after playoff after playoff, breaking records against us with Martinez and all of that. And after all, we finally succeeded. We finally did something. And, hopefully it's not the last time we see that. And it most likely won't. I feel like we've got a lot of smart head on our shoulders with some players. We'll go through some bad times again, but it won't be the last time. And I think with introductions, with, us being allowed back into the US Open Cup again, whether we choose to or not, or going into Leagues Cup since, Messi Mania is now ending, I think they might wipe the tournament after next year, after 2 years. So it might just go back to the US Open Cup and the MLS Cup and the Supporters Shield. I think after that, it will just turn into that. So, a lot of positive days ahead of us, but it's football. And football that's why it's called the beautiful sport, because it's unpredictable.
I agree. I had the opportunity to watch the game with my two boys, so it's we got pictures of the day. Later in December, my family took holiday pictures with the trophy at the stadium. I don't know if you guys remember that going to the stadium. You got if you were a season ticket member, you got the holiday pictures, and then you had a picture with the trophy, and then pictures in the dressing room. Listen, you could have put a bullet in my head. I would have died a happy man that day. Going to the tunnel and all that was insane. It was probably one of the greatest nights ever. But we're reaching here to the end. Hopefully, Orlando City can get a win this coming up Saturday, as we are rounding it up, guys, because we only have one home game this month. Believe it or not, wow,
We have two.
Two. We have Nashville and what else?
No, you're right. No, actually you're right. My apologies. You're right.
Yeah. We have the one game, and then in October we have two.
Yes.
We have two in October, and then the season's over. What's the decision day this year? What date is that?
October 18th.
October 18th. So basically, come this weekend, we're looking at a month, right? Roughly. So
18th, yeah. This weekend,
wow.
yeah, 4 weeks basically, yeah.
Yeah, wow. That's crazy.
So now what everybody needs to do for me, and I love putting Luke on the spot, they need to get on in Luke's DMs, demand that he show up. Maybe we need to start a GoFundMe or something for him, because he, congratulations to him, because he recently started attending college down in enemy territory in southern Florida. But we need to try to make sure he comes to all the home matches coming up.
For sure. And
I most likely will.
I know he will anyway. I'm just kidding.
I will.
So the reason I say I love putting him on the spot, quick story, is him and I went to the U.S. Open Cup match over in Tampa together. And some of his buddies that he met through social media wanted to stick around and meet the players as they were walking out. And Duncan McGuire's one of the ones that came over and talked to us. And Luke was going to give him, told me he wanted to give him grief about the loan that fell through. And Duncan comes over, yada, 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 and Luke doesn't say anything. And then Duncan comes to me and I talk to him a little bit. You guys know I'm not really one for pictures, just talking to the guys, whatever's cool. And I just go, but Duncan, I do have to put my buddy on the spot and force Luke to give him grief about the
Blackburn move.
Yeah, about the Blackburn move. And Duncan took it really well,
Yeah, he was like, I don't want to put Duncan on the spot here, by the way. I don't know if he's watching. You might watch, he basically said, like, yeah, Blackburn wasn't the nicest places of all time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, it's not. And I'm like, I did see that move, and I thought, why did you go there? But
yeah.
And not to put you on the spot, look, we're gonna probably need somebody to fill in for me Next Monday is
We can talk about that after the show.
yeah, for sure. Next month I may not be here, so I just want to make sure that we got somebody.
Yeah.
It's Jewish New Year, so perhaps I'll be out there howling at the moon. Um, oh, by the way, this Saturday, Steven H is facing the legendary Dom Dwyer. He's playing for Mansfield.
Oh yeah.
So it's a treat for me to once again see Mister score when he wants, as he's taking his talents all the way over there to England. So
Yeah,
uh,
I remember that you lot play Mansfield. We played
yeah.
we played Mansfield this season.
Did you? What did Dom saw some
He
minutes?
did actually sub on because we were 2-0 down, and it was we've not had a good start to the season, David. I'm going to
Oof.
be honest with you. So
Yeah, I hear you. Well,
uh,
I'm hoping that to see the legendary Dom Dwyer. So, um, well, guys, final words.
score predictions
Go
for
ahead,
the
brother.
game for the game on Saturday, John.
I'm hoping 3-0 at best.
Hoping 3.
At worst, at worst. There's no reason why. I mean, you look at their stats. You look at DC stats. Benteke has only scored 8 for the entire season, which is shocking with a guy with his quality. But that just shows the team around. To me, when a striker's not scoring goals, a lot of it has to do with the team around him. Duncan's going to be starting. Hasn't scored a goal since the U.S. Open Cup in Tampa. Um, Maybe the week after he may have got a goal in a league game, but then was injured. So he's thirsting for a goal. It's going to be the Duncan show this week at striker. Janssen's back. Should be at full strength. Marco. We'll see how he comes back. I hope he comes back on fire, being with the national team. Brekalo got some more. The nice thing about Brekalo playing left back here is he also plays fullback generally for his national team. So that'll be, he got some work there, some more work in that. Seeing, I don't know who exactly they played, but seeing, some high level, wingers there. So, I look for us to come out hungry. These last 6 matches at this point, in order for us to get a top 4, pretty much, especially the next 2, if we win this week, no matter what Nashville does, whether they lose, draw, or tie, the match on the 20th is another 6-point match against them, because we could be right there to pull even with them on points or pull ahead with them on points, as long as we take care of business on Sunday or Saturday. So. Must win this week, must win next week, and see if we can make up ground on hopefully the other results fall our way and we can make up some ground on the teams ahead of us.
Win your home games. Win your home games.
Yep.
For sure.
That's what you're going to do in this league. That's what playoff teams and league winning teams do, is win your home games. We've got 3 home games left. You've got 2 away games.
No, we have 3 home games. Yep, 3 home games, 3 away games.
2 away games with 2 teams who are not doing well this season. So what an opportunity to get some, major points on the board.
Squeaky bomb time, baby.
I know it's now a time. Top 4, I don't know about top 4. I don't think it's. If you never know, if we win all of our games, it puts us in a good position. But just getting in the playoffs at this point is all we need to do. We just need to get.
Yeah, you just need a ticket to the dance. After
Exactly.
that, let the football gods decide.
You have to be in it to win it, as they say. In it
Yes,
to win
sir.
it.
I mean,
Absolutely.
top 4 is definitely very doable. I mean, the schedule's against us, but we're only 3 points back from 3rd place. Charlotte's got 50. We're only 5 back from 2nd place in Cincinnati. So, and we still play them. So if we, go on a little bit of a run, win Sunday, win I keep saying Sunday, win Saturday, win this Saturday, win next Saturday, and then go up to Cincinnati for a Sunday night soccer match, and put a good showing against against
Get a
them.
result. Get a result. Possibly win. You just never know.
Yeah.
And then you've also got are Cincinnati in any competition still?
No.
No. So
All the in season competitions are
they're all done up.
Nashville and Philadelphia, I believe, are the only two teams in our bracket.
Cup.
that-
So
Open Cup.
so what an opportunity for us against Nashville.
Oh, that's right, because they're playing on Wednesday.
Exactly.
Yeah, so they got it's gonna be reversed. They're gonna probably arrest their people.
Exactly.
Because I mean they're playing for a trophy. So
Yes.
no, for sure. So, anyways, I wanna thank the people that watch us live as always. Not the numbers that we usually get, but this is it's a boring topic. It's a week off, right? But thank you very much for everybody that watched us live, everybody that's gonna watch this later, and also for the people that are listening to us on audio. Every week we have more and more people doing audio. So thank you very much for that. I know that I'm not pleasant to watch, so I understand why you choose to listen to the show instead. And by the way, I checked that next Monday I'm gonna be available because Rosh Hashanah falls the following Monday. So on that day, I mean, look, you have an open invitation to the show. We're not.
I'll fill in whenever anyone's needed. I've enjoyed it. So again, I just want to say thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, for sure, man, for
talking
sure.
to you guys, I know Ahmed's not here, but
We appreciate it.
you guys are.
And Misael, get better, brother. I mean, you've been sick for a while, man.
Yeah.
The antibacterial soap, my friend. Antibacterial soap.
You guys have been, good, and I
Awesome, brother. I'm glad that you had a good time. So let's go ahead and wrap it up and close it the only way we know how is by reminding everybody that football is played on grass, not on paper. That football is cruel and unpredictable. That football is a panel talent and an ounce of luck. And if you haven't cried for joy or anger over football, have you really football? From myself, from Luke, from John, from Ahmed, from Misael, and from little Ivy over here by my feet. May God bless you. And as always, vamos, Orlando!